All right, today is August the 27th, 2016, and we're looking at the Northeast Pacific water vapor loop. And we have Hurricane Lester right here. This is a Category 2 storm, I think, with about a Cat 2 storm with 105 mile per hour winds, I believe it is. We'll check that here in a second. And then we have Madeline, which is just about a hurricane. I believe this has 60 mile per hour winds. This is a tropical storm. We can see a blast pattern right off the northwest edge of that system, and also on the just moving right out of the core, we see a blast pattern where these weather controllers are targeting the storm with a microwave. They're superheating the core, and we see that rapidly expanding water vapor as a blast pattern in this view right here. Over here we have Lester. This has an eye wall. We can see that, a very well defined eye wall. We'll take a look at that in some of these maps, and also the blast pattern on this is visible on this storm as well. We can see that. All right, now the next obvious thing going on here is this straight line, and that is engineered. That's been installed by a transmitter, man-made feature. Very straight line. We'll put a ruler on that, or a piece of paper here right now. We'll just stop this, and we can see that how straight that line is. I'll just scroll through a few of these frames. And the purpose of this line here, this is a microwave transmitter, a phased array type microwave. It is cutting a very straight edge right near this upper level low pressure. And that is going to prevent this system here. This is a 1013 millibar system, a 1013 millibar low pressure system. It's not really a low pressure, but right up here we have it's designated a low on the surface analysis map here, and this is supposed to drop down. We've got high pressure in this area, and so this has nowhere to go but to the southeast. And then we have these two lows out here, which are going to be blocked out further west from the Hawaiian Islands. We also have an upper level low, which is not shown on this surface map. We'll look at that. And that has been completely surrounded by a transmitter. Right here we can see that. But the main thing here is that the obvious weather manipulation going on, and we can see that very clearly. This phased array transmitter has generated a blockade, and if we look at this in the IR loop, we can see that none of this moisture is getting anywhere near this upper level low, which has been completely surrounded by a separate transmitter. We can see this dry upper level low. This is what they call these on television, and that seems logical enough. It's dry because we've got a transmitter focusing RF energy on it. The water vapor has evaporated all the descending air, and the heat has evaporated all this water except for the very core of that vortex. Okay, so the strategy here is that this is not going to be allowed to drop down because of high pressure at the surface level, and also they want to prevent these two systems from merging, so we have a huge blockade. This is probably about, probably a couple of thousand miles long. Also, we have something right here trying to spin, and we have another channel, a blockade of microwave transmitter generated blockade of high pressure separating this developing system, which has a transmitter on it all the way around. We can see that black outline, and that is working on the core of that system to prevent further development. But we have a strategy here as well. These controllers want to maintain separation between this system and this system right over Canada and its associated fronts. So these are going to be prevented from merging, at least for the time being. Now, the next thing I want to report is that the puppets on TV doing the weather, the guys that are paid to do the weather, are reporting that we're going to have triple-digit temperatures starting Monday, Tuesday, and probably Wednesday in the Southern California area. And we have all this weather around us here. We can see the hurricanes down here. One hurricane, one tropical storm. Further away, we've got this thing. We had nice cool weather yesterday. The last couple of nights have been nice and cool, down in the lower 60s with high humidity, so it's been nice. But that's going to end soon because these sociopath weather controllers are going to prevent this from dropping down. And just a minute ago, we were looking at the surface analysis map. This is that system we were just looking at. That is forecast to drop down. Between this high, we've got other lows down here as well that are shown. A trough, that dotted line, and a low out here. So there is opportunity for rain, but again, the terrorists running our weather here in our country are preventing all the weather and the rain in California. And this is another great example of weather manipulation. This straight line that we're looking at, that is about as straight as can be. Very straight. In fact, we have almost a right angle at the very beginning of this loop. Right there in that one corner. So we should be getting moisture from this upper level low drifting towards California. Under normal circumstances, the weather in the northern hemisphere moves generally from the west to the east. So this has been knocked down. This will be blocked, this low here, and as well as this low, which has a big front. And then we have these two storms here. And then we have another system out here, which is just approaching the Aleutian Islands. This has a transmitter on the core. We can see that disrupted core. It looks like jello or something. All right, let's look at some of these other maps real quick. We have the infrared map, which does not show much of the nefarious activity. If you're looking at this only, you'll never know that something's going on right here or something's going on over here. Those details are left behind, and of course the weather people don't show us that. And the same thing here. This is the visible light loop. Once in a while we get lucky on TV and we see the visible light loop, but that doesn't show us a whole lot. You can see there's no straight line in this map. However, we do see the blast patterns fairly clearly in the visible light loop, so that's why we use that map. We can see some of the dimple marks, the pock marks that are left behind when the microwave RF strikes the water vapor. It immediately superheats the core. We see the blast pattern and all that. So that's why that is a valuable tool, the visible light map. Okay, here's the hurricane map, National Hurricane Center. We have Lester, which is now a Category 2 hurricane with 105 mile per hour winds, and it's moving due west at 13 miles per hour. And the cone on that forecast is right here, which is basically due west. All right, let's go take a look at the other storm here. This is Madeline, a tropical storm, 60 mile per hour winds, moving northwest at 10 miles per hour. So this may run into the Hawaiian Islands, according to this map. So that will mean that they may put on a show for us. This may build up into a Category 2 storm real quick in these waters, and then by the time it gets over here, they'll knock it down. They'll either blow it apart or they will re-steer it using high pressure, and they'll re-steer it to the north or maybe to the south. We'll just sit and watch and see what happens. But I guarantee you these islands will not be, there will be no catastrophic damage. If that happens, you'll see it right here, and you'll know that that was intentional. Somebody fell asleep at the control panel at the NOAA, or the Defense Meteorological Agency, which I believe is based at the Los Angeles Air Force Base down in El Segundo. I believe that is where some of this activity is being controlled. If you look on Google Earth at Los Angeles Air Force Base, that is right adjacent to the Los Angeles International Airport. It's adjacent to the Raytheon, Boeing, and all the satellite manufacturers right there adjacent to the airport. Okay, now here's the western U.S. water vapor loop. We have a close-up view of this straight edge right here. This is like I said, this is man-made. That has been put in there. That's been installed to block the water vapor from merging and winding into this upper level low. And that will also prevent California from getting any rain from this system. So we've got another opportunity for rain right here, moving right down the coast between high pressure, and we've got this situation. So there it is, folks. I'm not lying to you. This is weather manipulation, and this is why we have a drought. And of course, drought causes food shortages, price increases for food, and shortages of food commodities that make other food products. We have inept, out to lunch politicians that are busy legislating, creating new laws, and they don't know what's going on. They have no idea what's going on over their heads. And so that's why we're doing these videos. Here's the rainbow loop. We can see that this system has been isolated from the weather up here. Let's go back to the water vapor loop. You can see that channel of dry air that's been built in by a transmitter all the way across the country. And that will prevent this system. This is a low pressure system building. We can see that counterclockwise rotation. And we have the monsoonal flow feeding that, but you see what's happening right in here. This is high pressure being built in to isolate that and prevent this system from developing. All right, let's look at the, this is the East Pacific water vapor loop. We have these two storms, Lester and Madeline. So we see the eye wall there. That's a pretty good eye wall. And again, these waters are in the mid 80s, mid to upper 80s. And let's see what happened there. Mixed up. There we go. Okay, here's the infrared loop. And they'll let this thing go along for a while. They're gonna keep an eye on this. This is the one that is gonna get out near Hawaii. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But again, it'll be interesting to see what, how long this will remain a Category 2 storm. And we can already see that the moisture field from this is being cut off. So they are surrounding this with a transmitter. We can see that already. That's happening right now. Yesterday there was a tremendous blast pattern on this, and I was not able to make a video. We're seeing the very tail end of another event right here. These big radial circular shaped cloud formations, water vapor outflow. That is from the transmitter hitting the core of that storm. So this system is being targeted. It's actually being isolated. We can see the evaporation right here. Okay. All right, next, let's take a look at Alaska. We can see that big system dropping down, which has that straight line, that straight edge of high pressure immediately to the south of it. Here's the rainbow loop for Alaska. Okay, now let's take a look at the pressure maps real quick because I'm running out of time. We've got the sea level pressure. We see high pressure shown here. This is always there, installed in place. And that will block a low that's further out. We have the 500 millibar map. We have some high pressure indicated here. We've got that low. That's that dry upper level low. Right here we got some squiggly lines over that developing system. And this indicates varying degrees of high and low pressure from the transmitter that is affecting that system. So that's why we see squiggly lines. That is varying degrees of high and low pressure being installed on top of this low pressure system. So that's what causes that. All right, the 300 millibar, we have this upper level low, which is completely isolated. And this will probably not bring any rain at all. We see a low right here indicated. All right, and we saw that map already. Okay, so we'll just leave it right here, right there. Let the scientists and mainly the meteorologists that are being paid 6- and 7-figure salaries. Let's hear from you people, and let's quit clowning around and telling jokes and start talking to the people out there in TV land and tell them what this is all about. Okay, that's it.